So after having seen the background to the GOI Act 1935, which is your Simon Commission, and I hope you remember this white paper on the constitutional reforms, which led to the GOI Act 1935, and in between we also had something known as communal award. So now we'll see the provisions of the Government of India Act 1935. Definitely it is very important for us to understand its significance, which is primarily that that important act from which majority of the provisions of our constitution has been borrowed. So this is a major source to our constitution, and also this was a very you would say the most important milestone towards the responsible government of India. A very lengthy act, a very lengthy document, having many clauses, many schedules, many sections, and whatnot. Okay, so I am not going into that detail, that is not even needed, but yes, a very important one. But then, what are the provisions that we need to remember? The first provision that you have to understand, that they said that there should be establishment of All India Federation. If you have done my polity class, you know what is federation. But quickly summarizing, federation would be like having the government at different levels. For example, we have a central government and state government, and then later, of course, the local government also. So basically, it is the central and the regional level governments. Okay. So it said that there should be All India Federation, which should have the units of provinces and the princely states both. So princely states के integration की इन्होंने यहाँ पर बात की, not integration but yes, to just to have like them along. And the act also, this act also divided the powers between the center and these units, which is provinces and the princely states, in terms of 3 lists. तो इनके बीच का power was supposed to be divided into. This is just the recommendation. This is just the provision. It came into picture or not, we'll just see. Okay. So it said that there should be 3 lists. Federal, which is you can draw parallel to the present day union list. So it was for the center. Then a provincial list. So if you draw parallel to the present day state list, ठीक है, for the provinces, and concurrent for both. Right? So this is what they recommended. And then there would be some residuary powers also. Let's say the things which would not be given in any of these lists. So these powers were given to the viceroy. I hope you can compare it with the present scenario. Presently, in the context of the residuary powers, the list basically, we have it with the center. But that time it was not about the center or the province. It was directly in the hands of the viceroy. This is again a potential question asked several times. Okay. But why did this federation actually come into being? Actually, no. This was a recommendation, but it does not come into being because the princely states did not join it. So this can be another question. All India Federation was established by this act. So that statement would be wrong because it suggested to establish, but it did not get established because the princely states did not join. Moving on with another provision. We have already talked about the diarchy in the provinces, right? वापस जा रहे हैं just to show you so that you have that link. Diarchy in the provinces was introduced by 1990, not the central one. ठीक है, in the provinces. So this diarchy, which is transferred and reserved subject. So diarchy in provinces was abolished, and also this was the recommendation of the Simon Commission to abolish diarchy. ठीक है, so they accepted it. Diarchy was abolished in the provinces. तो अब अगर diarchy नहीं है, then what would be in the provinces in place of diarchy? So they said there will be autonomous rule. ठीक है, so there will be autonomous rule, or let's say name it as provincial autonomy. So because this is a term used, so you will be familiar with it, but the context was same anyways. So they said that now the provinces could act just as the autonomous unit and accordingly they will carry out their work. ठीक है, अब यहाँ पे there was also in the provinces they were responsible government introduced, and governor was required to act with the advice of ministers, which happened in the present case also, okay? And who were responsible to the provincial legislature. From 1937 to 1939, this continued. Why it ended later? Again, history का thing बाद में उसको करना है. अभी के लिए just remember this, ठीक है? Then, if they had abolished diarchy in the provinces, but they introduced diarchy in center. तो provinces से हटा दिया, वहाँ पर they had autonomy, but in the center they introduced diarchy. ठीक है? और यहाँ पे इन्होंने क्या बोला? Again, the same thing, that now the federal subjects would be divided into transferred and reserved. But again, even this provision did not actually come into picture. So this also did not come, this also did not come. So this was just the recommendation. Bicameralism आपने पढ़ ही लिया था. I had told you about the two houses thing, bicameralism. Now this bicameralism was extended to the, अभी वापस जाते हैं bicameralism पर, so that you would remember. Yeah, here 1919 से you could see that the Indian Legislative Council had two houses, so this was introduced. Now bicameralism got introduced in 6 out of the 11 provinces. Okay, now I give you this work, you will have to remember the name of, you can check any book, Spectrum or LAXMIKANTH, I think you'll get the names there, okay, that which 6 provinces had the two houses now, but you will have to remember this. So now they had the two houses. Another thing was about the communal representation, जो अब तक already कुछ groups को मिल चुका था, but now it again got extended by providing the separate electorate for the depressed classes or the scheduled classes, ठीक है, women and labor or the workers. Now I hope now you understand why did we discuss this communal award and all of these contexts, क्योंकि उस टाइम तो गांधी जी ने मना कर दिया था, एंड पूना पैक्ट से ये हो गया कि ओके, विल नॉट गिव देम एनी सेपरेट इलेक्टोरेट बट जस्ट द रिजर्व्ड सीट. बट यहाँ पे चीज़ें डिफरेंट हो गई, ठीक है ना? तो अगेन हिस्ट्री का मैटर, बट यू विल हैव टू रिमेंबर दिस कि येस, यहाँ पर दिस थिंग हैपेंड. तो उसका बैकग्राउंड जानना वहाँ से इसलिए बहुत ज़रूरी था. इट वॉज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू नो द बैकग्राउंड फ्रॉम देयर. Then the Council of India, which was established by the GOI Act. GOI Act 1858 के through, the council that was established now was abolished. Okay, and which was the SOS wala council, Secretary of State for India Council. So now this person would not be assisted by councils, but just got certain advisors. We had earlier already seen that the franchise, which is right to vote, has been given on the basis of property, tax or education. Now it was extension in the franchise, and about 10%. In different books you'll find, let's say, some other numbers, 10, 11, 12 ऐसे, but roughly just understand. So 10% of the total population got the voting rights. So again, limited franchise, but still extended from the earlier scenario. Then it also recommended that there should be establishment of RBI to control the financial things, the currency and the credit of the country. Then it also said that there should be a provincial public commission also. Like earlier we already had the Federal Public Service Commission for the recruitment of the civil servants. Now they said कि provinces में भी होना चाहिए, जैसे अभी आपका State Public Service Commission है, something like that. Plus there should be joint Public Service Commission also for 2 or more provinces. And it also said there should be establishment of a federal court, which got established in 1937 later because of this act. ठीक है? Now if you try to analyze this again this act is like very important. All the, especially you know these things कि center में क्या था, provinces में क्या था, diarchy कहाँ पर था, autonomy कहाँ थी कि नहीं थी, lists कैसे थे, and all of that thing. ठीक है? So this is bicameralism के बारे में. All of these things you will have to remember. Moving on now, if we try to analyze this act, so we have to see कि you know they had this attempt, this act, because we are nearing to the independence thing, right? 47 and this is just 35, so very very close to that if I say so. So this was kind of an attempt or an endeavor so that we get a written constitution for India. even as such they were not involving the Indians. क्योंकि इसी के बाद you will see the story, gradually you will see the story, you know, firstly the demand for the Constituent Assembly, and then finally in 46 we had the Constituent Assembly for a constitution and all, but अभी के लिए नहीं था. So Indians, they were not including it, but still they wanted to have like, you know, some attempt towards the constitution, but there was no growth noticed as such. Indians के हाथ में अभी भी बहुत ज़्यादा कुछ भी ऐसा नहीं था. And in fact, when they extended this communal representation, therefore there was so much of risk for the separation. You know, people would have definitely wanted to go for the separation because they were increasing it. So all the sections of the people, and in fact Congress unanimously just rejected this act. Ki no, we are not okay with it. And the Congress said that there should be a Constituent Assembly which should be elected on the basis of the adult franchise, that all the adults should be allowed to vote, and that assembly would be given the charge of framing the constitution for independent India. We are not allowing this act or the provisions to dominate the constitution making in any way. Then of course after that a couple of things happened in history, like important events if I say so. After 35, for example, there was this August offer of 1940, there was this Cripps proposal, जो आपने Cripps के बारे में पढ़ा होगा, 1942. Then there was ठीक है, CR formula of 1944. Then we have also seen the Wavell plan, and then the cabinet mission. Then finally there was this Mountbatten plan. Now all of these things which I have just said you, like the August offer and the Cripps or the cabinet and all of that, वो सब history में समझना है, नहीं तो otherwise will just divert and you will not be able to relate also, because the story has to be there in your mind. So the Mountbatten plan came in 1947 and then it resulted in the formation of Indian Independence Act, क्योंकि हमें मेन उसी के प्रोविजन समझने हैं फॉर द इंडिपेंडेंस थिंग. ठीक है, सो नाउ दीज डेवलपमेंट्स हैव टू बी इंटीग्रेटेड विद व्हाट यू स्टडी इन हिस्ट्री, द स्टोरी दैट यू डू, सो दैट अगर इन केस यू बाई चांस forget any provision, if you have the story with you, you will be able to relate the things. ठीक है, आप कहानी बहुत अच्छे से इंटीग्रेट कर पाएंगे and then you will be able to mark the right answer also. So I will see you guys in the next video and we'll continue from here. Majorly the acts are done, questions बाकी हैं, that will do. Okay, bye bye.